Alrighty, everybody, welcome back here to another live stream on the channel. I have no idea why Lucky's calling me on the phone, which is strange. Normally that's reserved for emergencies, so I don't know if I should let that ring or pick it up. Let's see what we have here in the chat today. We have Legacy, Catman, Luke. We also have Maybe in here, as well as everyone else in the chat who is joining and may not be chatting. Glad to have you in here. Still getting over the sickness. It still hurts a little to talk and a little to swallow, but I really wanted to go live to recap yesterday because we do have our high-res radar data still available for the 24-hour loop here. And that will be, with time that expires as time goes on. So let's go and switch scenes here. Hopefully everything is good to go. I probably could have gone live yesterday, honestly, but I was very much late to the party, and obviously by the time I would have went live, things was actually starting to die down. So I decided just not to take another rest day off. And yeah, like I said, opted to start up a stream here to talk about yesterday because, oh boy, was it ever a insane event. I was watching it throughout much of the day yesterday. I mean, we had the insane tornado outbreak out here across Illinois and Indiana, huge overperformance. And then we had the Derecho there in Oklahoma, Kansas, and maybe even into a bit of Arkansas, but mainly from western Kansas into far east, southeastern Oklahoma there. So yeah, how am I? I'm okay getting over it, but starting to finally get towards the end of it to where I can actually talk. I can finally talk again. Yeah, it's already been it's officially the second Derecho of 2026, and sadly we missed it. I hate that I couldn't cover it, but it was also overnight too. I mean, it was from it began the most Derecho portion of the MCS in the Derecho began at about 8 p.m. last night, and then it lasted, was very significant until about 6 a.m. this morning, with the peak being, the peak of this Derecho was from about midnight all the way till about 4 a.m. Eastern, so very, very, very insane overnight MCS and Derecho there, and yeah, you can see that's the full loop right there. We even had northwest of Oklahoma City, right here near Weatherford. We had a 102 mile per hour wind report right there west of Oklahoma City. And just to show you the high-res radar here, I mean, this was definitely, Definitely a derecho. If you're a weather enthusiast, you turn on your radar site and you see this, and it's lasted for 3 to 4 hours. You could almost bet your bottom dollar that that is going to be classified as a derecho, especially when it's going through populated areas like Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Weatherford, and especially when it's going through the best National Weather Service office in Norman, Oklahoma. I mean, this hit the Storm Prediction Center. This derecho hit the Storm Prediction Center themselves. It hit Norman's National Weather Service. So, obviously, with such an intense storm impacting not only the weather community but also meteorologists and the most popular and smartest meteorologists as well there in Oklahoma City. I mean, you're bound to get it classified as a derecho, especially when it's this long lived. Also have the velocity data here as well. If we go ahead and pull this back, the velocity was quite intense as well. If we pull this on back here, you could see I don't know if we had any confirmed tornadoes off this. I know we had multiple tornado warnings, but I don't think any tornadoes have been confirmed so far from the actually, maybe actually Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, very, very early this morning confirmed a tornado there. So we actually did. But you could see these velocities here on approach to Oklahoma City. They didn't really seem too impressive, but once it pushed a little further from the radar site, that's when your velocities started to really increase again once that radar was able to scan a bit better. But very, very, very impressive derecho from last night. And I'll also show you back up here where it began. This is using the Dodge City radar site. We're going to have to wait for this to load. This has got to load 24 hours worth of 2-minute radar data, so it's going to take a hot minute to fully load it all in. It's about halfway done right now. Let me go disable the ads again. I made sure once again they were disabled before I started the stream, but of course it didn't work. So let's go to live streams. Let's do this one. Ads. Yep, they're on. Off. There you go. Even though I literally set them to off before I started. I triple checked that. But yeah, this was when it began. It began yesterday at about 2:45. We're using a further away radar site, so it doesn't show it as well. But it began out here in Deer Trail about 2:45, 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time yesterday afternoon. That's where your derecho started. And right away, we had a report of a land spout out of it, and then another report following that. And then they eventually started to congeal up into a line. We got our huge hail up here, so we had hail and tornadoes up here, and then damaging winds and tornadoes and some small hail up here. Both of those storms started to merge. Another tornado report, some more hail yesterday. This is at 7 p.m. Eastern in northwestern Kansas. And then this is where things started to finally go haywire for your MCS. Right here at 8 p.m. is when that peak started happening. 60-mile-an-hour winds right out here. West of Scott City and east of Scott City. 80-mile-an-hour winds north of Scott City. 9 p.m. This is 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see more 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts there in Garden City, Kansas. And then this is when I started tweeting about it on Twitter. I believe this is when I put out my special post, my Outlook post, which I sent out at 9:47 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, this scan. I said, in the last few hours, it has become more evident that an intense MCS with wind gusts upwards of 90 miles per hour will impact nearly the entire state of Oklahoma. A few tornadoes, 3-inch hail will also be possible if you live in this area, have multiple ways to receive warnings to wake you up. And that was the Outlook post I had yesterday highlighting pretty much the whole state of Oklahoma. And obviously that verified nicely as this continued throughout the night. We also had a random supercell in Woodward, Oklahoma. That stalled out for like an hour. I mean, if you look at this here, it stalled out when it first formed in Fort Supply. Then it stalled out west of Woodward for almost an hour. And then it finally started to die as it was still stalling out near Sharon in Oklahoma. So that was a not too crazy of a supercell, but pretty impressive because it stalled out for so many times for so long. You can see the continuation of your MCS here. This was at midnight And this is when things started to get very serious. I think right around here is where the SPC issued a black mesoscale discussion for the potential of 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts over the next couple hours with this MCS. And we had a lot of mergers with this too. This whole shebang in here, I believe this fired off of a front. There was a front located right in that vicinity, so I believe that fired off of a front. And I know something similar happened back in Arkansas later in the night, but I don't know if that was associated with the front. And if we just pull this on forward, you could see just how that comes together. Another 90-mile-an-hour wind report there, 89-mile-an-hour winds. And then this is at 1:20 a.m. We'll switch to the OKC radar site so we could get some more higher data. Excuse me. Yesterday verified as, if you use the perfect probability, yesterday verified as a double barrel high risk both in Oklahoma and in southern Illinois and southwest Indiana. We'll go to, this is going towards 2 a.m. This is using Weatherfront. You can look at this yourself, I think, for free. I think the 24-hour frames is free. Not 100% sure, but I believe so. And this is at 2:15 a.m. as it started to approach Oklahoma City. And we saw that 100-mile-an-hour wind report there. I'm not going to lie to you. I was up for this. I stayed up. I was watching it about to pass out at 2:30 a.m. I was watching it coming to Oklahoma City. I'm like, this thing's crazy. I couldn't stop looking at radar because of how intense it looked. Derechos just have that different type of look to them. Like, they look like an MCS, but they look crazier too. From my experience. I mean, it looked like a derecho. The one that hit up in Illinois, that looked like a derecho for like an hour. This looked like a derecho for like 4 hours. I mean, ever since it went from northwest Oklahoma at 12 a.m. all the way until it hit the border of Arkansas at 6 a.m. this morning, this thing looked like a derecho. I mean, look at that. Just the insanely large, powerful Boeing segment. That was just very impressive, man. I'm a nerd when it comes to radar imagery like this. Just very satisfying radar imagery. And obviously, a lot of damage done to the state of Oklahoma. I wonder how many people are without power still. Hopefully everyone's all right out there. But yeah, not too many people. 30,000 people. I mean, that's a handful, right? That's a lot of people still. But when you're talking about a derecho the size of the state of Oklahoma, that's not as many as you may be thinking. So that, I mean, again, just a very, very powerful derecho yesterday. Upwards of 102 miles per hour in Oklahoma. And in my opinion, this was more impressive than the tornado outbreak in Illinois and Indiana. I thought that this was more impressive. Catman, didn't you say, like, wasn't this the anniversary of a derecho 3 years ago yesterday in the state of Oklahoma? You guys had a Father's Day derecho. So isn't this like literally a derecho on the same day 3 years later in the same area? Which is, if so, that's crazy. That is very, very crazy. I do want to go back to Illinois. Let's go to Illinois now. Actually, before I do that, let's go to Arkansas. We'll just finish that loop real quick. I'll hurry up and finish that loop. Once it crossed the Arkansas-Oklahoma border, once this northern portion started to merge with it down here, that's when it began to weaken, which that was right on the border of Oklahoma and Arkansas. You could see how much weaker it got. Still, look at the wind gusts. I mean, you still had damaging winds into Little Rock, Arkansas there. And now I'll just do one more full loop of that real quick. Like I said, you're not going to be able to get this higher resolution data. I know, actually, I take that back. I do know a site where you could get it from, but not this easy. You'll have to go to each individual radar site, find the specific time, and then download it, and then combine it all into a file and switch between each radar. So it will be difficult. It will be difficult, not impossible though, but this will be the last time you have easy access to this data just today. And you could see just, like I said, I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff. Especially, I mean, like right here, like this frame right in here, like 4:30 a.m. I mean, holy crap. Talk about classic Derecho. That's just classic Derecho right there. Just so impressive. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get a screenshot of that. That thing's so impressive. Not as impressive as that Derecho in 2020. I was it 24 or 25 in Illinois. That was the most impressive derecho I have seen, other than December 15th, 2021. December 15th, 2021, and that derecho in Central Illinois, either last year or the year following, or the year prior rather. Yeah, I'm gonna just get a screenshot of this. 4:20 a.m. Eastern time. Screenshot. Very impressive. Very July 15th, 2024. That sounds right. That sounds right. And of course, this happened after Illinois and Indiana experienced a huge overperformance. This performed, I would say this performed better than the moderate that I halfway covered. That moderate where the day I started getting very, very sick. I would say this performed better than that. I mean, this was crazy. So you had, what happened was you had a MCS the night prior to yesterday in Kansas and Missouri, in Nebraska and Kansas, and that tracked all the way through. That produced 90 to 100 mile an hour winds up here. Man, talk about a crazy stretch of severe weather, because you had 90 to 100 mile an hour winds here. That went off to Wichita, where it died out. It was a weak MCS, and then started getting strong again back up here towards St. Louis, where it then became severe and started producing tornadoes, which you could see happened right about 4:30 yesterday. That went on to spawn a couple more tornadoes and some severe winds for the Indianapolis area. South of that, it left boundaries in an open warm sector in Illinois and southwest Indiana, which produced multiple intense, strong to intense tornadoes. I think we had probably borderline 40 some tornadoes yesterday in that area. That continued into Kentucky. We still had some leftover wind gusts and maybe a brief tornado into western Kentucky. Then after that, your derecho started out here into Oklahoma. By the time that finished at 12:30 Eastern, your derecho was starting to peak up towards Woodward, Oklahoma, and then went on to produce that swath of damaging winds. I mean, just a wild sequence of significant, crazy severe weather yesterday. Let me go over here real quick. Pull up some screenshots, because like I said, I was tracking yesterday's outbreak. I did 20 some tweets yesterday on that not only the tornado outbreak, but also the derecho. Here was one of them. This was one of your first intense tornadoes yesterday. You can see reflectivity debris ball at the top left, big CC at the bottom left, ZDR bottom right, and then velocity at the top right. That was your first intense tornado. Here, I believe, was the next scan to that, which was just as impressive. Just as impressive there. Very, very, very significant. And actually cutting back to June 6th, June 17th, for those who didn't see it, there was the 73 dBz reflectivity debris ball we had on the 17th, and a following four panel screenshot of it, and then prior to that another 4-panel screenshot, and then prior to that another one. Yeah, I'm a screenshot person. I'm a big screenshot person. This one was very impressive right here. This was on the 17th, not yesterday. And then there was your other 4-panel. You could see velocity was dying out, but that's just a big tree ripper. I believe that was rated EF. I don't actually know. EF2. I think it was rated EF2. I'm pretty sure it was. Pretty sure it was rated EF2, although I would definitely argue much higher than that. And you could see that screenshot there once again. Back to yesterday. It's yesterday's tornado. Here's is this the same screenshot? That's the same screenshot. Here's another, I believe the same tornado as it was starting to die out yesterday. This was the one just northeast of Mount Vernon, so this was the more talked about tornado from yesterday. That's a screenshot from Weatherfront. That was as the tornado outbreak was ongoing. So you can see that's your decaying MCS right there. Sig severe for 70-mile-an-hour winds yesterday. And then the tornado warnings behind it. The PDS warning to the south from the Mount Vernon tornado. And then I believe this was as it was dying out right there. Yeah, that was as the Mount Vernon tornado was lifting. And then that was when it touched back down. That was when it recycled. You could see you had your donut tornado here, donut reflectivity. And then your tiny CC, not too big of a CC, good ZDR, and some spectrum width there as well. Or some velocity, rather. I gotta be careful. I can't show one of these screenshots. Hopefully this is... Okay, yeah, that's the one I can show. Here's another one. Oh, this was the one, next to the, K, like, what was it? K something WX radar site. It's gonna be, what radar site was it? It was KVWX radar site. That one was very impressive. That was actually radar indicated. This was when it was radar indicated. Reflectivity debris ball right next to the radar. Huge CC drop. And you could see pretty contaminated, reflectivity, differential reflectivity, ZDR, holy crap. And then big time velocity couplet there. This was the next scan I believe this was either the next scan or the same one. And that was when it got observed. And look at that. Holy debris ball. They went observed with this and not PDS, which was very interesting. That signature easily worthy of a PDS tag. Obviously, you're closer to the radar site, so I don't know about a Tori, but there's that. Yeah, and then here was the screenshot of the MCS Derecho starting. I took that at 11:58. And I think that was the last... Yep, that was the last screenshot I took of the day. After that, I went to my phone. So, there's all the screenshots I had. There's your screenshot recap. Some of your higher resolution data. Now, let me close all this stuff here. Lord have mercy, this is going to take years. I think this is flashing y'all's screen, too. There you go. Just crazy, man. Go to the reports as well. Here's your reports thus far. Let's go back to the day when I started getting insanely sick. Yeah, it's been an adventure for me too, believe me. I wish I could have covered all of these days for severe weather. This is when I did the 4-hour live stream and had to cut coverage midway through. We covered the first bit of that tornado in Iowa and the first few tornadoes in this vicinity here. And then we had like two violent tornadoes. Of course, wasn't rated as such, but 2 violent tornadoes on the border of Illinois and Indiana. And that continued to progress eastward. 33 TOR, 367, of course, wind reports, and 38 hail reports on the 17th. Day after that, we had a crazy... I was surprised. Nobody... I don't think... I actually know. I think he went live a little later in the day, but a lot of coverage people didn't go live on this day, and this was just as impactful, especially for population-wise. We had 2 PDS tornadoes in Mississippi, southern Mississippi and eastern Louisiana, one in each state. And then a huge wind outbreak across the southeast and the northeastern U.S. Multiple tornadoes, full-on severe weather outbreak there. Day after that, I was in Sam's live stream. Okay, I guess we're not done. A new tornado warning in Alabama. So I guess the weather ain't done weathering. Ooh. Let's go to that. There we go. Definitely a valid tornado warning right there. You see a little area of rotation. So if you're in that tornado warning, get to your safe spot. New tornado warning just north of Skyline in Alabama, going into southern Tennessee as well. Let's finish up our recap before Tori comes out. Yeah, this was the day where I thought they were going to put a 2% tour. It took them until the 4 p.m. update to put a 2% tour out there in Minnesota. But that was a non 2% tour, and then after tornadoes touched down, they upgraded it to 2% tour, and that went crazy in Minnesota and into Wisconsin. 125 reports, not as crazy as the last days, but crazy. And then of course the 20th happened, and man, yeah, practically a derecho in and of itself right here. You can see this looks like yesterday's reports in Kansas almost. Look at that. And that had 90 to 100 mile an hour winds and a full-blown insane dust storm in Kansas on the 20th. There's your reports there. And then, of course, yesterday happened, which was arguably the second biggest outbreak of June so far. That was... I really wish I could have covered it, but it's alright, you know. Can't cover them all. You gotta be fisting me, man. Look at that. Here I am. Here's a stupid severe watch. Gotta be kidding me. Look at that. Didn't even get into a severe watch today. What? It's a scam, I tell ya. Scam. Just got scammed out of a severe watch. Man, but yeah, in terms of the next few days here, I actually don't know what's going to happen because I've been just trying to track it day for day. The weather's been so crazy that I haven't really looked into the future. Just taking it day by day. So here's today, a big severe weather threat on tap for the southeastern U.S. and for the eastern Rockies. Main tornado risk today is pretty much right where that new tornado warning just came in for, is under that 5% and 2% tornado risk. That's out there in southern Tennessee and northern Alabama for today. And then we also have a little risk for a tornado up here in New York and Maryland. And then another area here in Colorado and western Nebraska. Damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour can't be ruled out, but the main threat today is actually going to be large hail upwards of 2 to 3 inches in diameter just on the east side of the Rockies from southeast Montana to far northwest panhandle of Oklahoma for today. I'm going to go back to that tornado warning just to see how it looks. Not a particularly intense area of rotation, very weak rotation. Still could get a brief spin up weak tornado out of it though, so it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely a very well warranted tornado warning. So get to your safe spot if you're in that active tornado warning. It's not a storm that's like going to produce a crazy intense to violent tornado, but it is a storm that could still produce damage if it does produce a tornado as it heads towards Sherwood in southern Tennessee. So it's something I would be seeking shelter for. Obviously, it is a tornado warning as well, so get to your safe spot. Let's go to tomorrow's outlook. Oh, great. We got another derecho for Oklahoma. All I have to do is look at the outlook, and I can already tell you we're going to get a derecho from Colorado to freaking Oklahoma again. All I have to just look at the orientation of the outlook, and I can already tell you that. Round 2. Holy crap. Look at oh my word, the new HRRR for tomorrow. Holy crap. Yep, run it back. Third day in a row. Let's get a third one going. Derecho number 3, why not? Wow. Go right over Catman's house too. That's something. What you know? And of course, why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? It starts in Oklahoma at 10 p.m., so it's a nocturnal derecho again. So if that does, it looks like they already have confidence on that because they already have the 15 sig one out. So it looks like they already know that tomorrow's. Yep, there you go. Higher win probabilities and a categorical risk upgrade will probably be needed. There you go. So yeah, we'll probably almost 100% sure tomorrow's going to go enhanced for another MCS slash derecho potential for the third day in a row in Kansas and Oklahoma. Welcome to June. And then we're going to transition to more of high plains. You can see high plains is starting to become more active. The last few days, these MCSs have started in the mid to high plains. And today we've got a slight there. Tomorrow we have a slight there. Day 3 we have a slight there in Colorado. So really, really active. And then of course day 4 we also have a slight up there. And I know there's been a plentiful amount of talk in the weather community about a considerable severe threat developing towards the end of the month. I don't know how crazy it looks, but I'd have to imagine we're going to be talking about another significant tornado outbreak being possible. Holy crap. Holy, wow, that's impressive. Yeah, probably going to end up with another good chance for a upper echelon tornado outbreak in the northern U.S. It ought to trend to Illinois, right? It ought to trend to Illinois. Like I know this shows a huge dominant high pressure directly over the state of Illinois and Indiana. It ought to trend to Illinois and Indiana, right? Like it ought to push to the southeast. It has to. Somehow, some way, it's gonna find Illinois. It's gonna have to trend to the southeast. But right now, that looks like a big severe slash tornado outbreak possible for the high plains into the northwestern Midwest of the U.S. there. So definitely want to watch that. And that looks like probably gonna start on the 28th, 27th, 28th, right in that area. I know StormNet's been hinting at some pretty good probabilities. Oh, every day. Got it. Its highest probability for the very long range looks to be on the 29th, which is Monday. And that's right here. No shocker there. Yeah, that's probably going to be a big day to watch. But another day it really likes is June 25th, Thursday. Heck, guess what? Oklahoma, Kansas. June 25th. So prepare for a fourth derecho. That's 84 hours out. Let's see how that looks on the NAM. Not far enough out. Was that the 6th or the 26th or the 27th? Oh, that was the 25th, actually. Silly me. Somehow that... Oh, heck yeah. That's going to turn to another derecho. Look at that. 5,000 uncapped cape at 8 p.m. Heck yeah. Man, Oklahoma, you might as well just... you might as well just buckle down the whole state of Oklahoma because it looks like that's just the pattern y'all are in for the next 3 days. Derecho yesterday, a huge MCS the day prior to that, MCS derecho tomorrow. Maybe you'll get a break on the 24th. Might be a recovery day, but who knows? Because that's a lot of cape too. So maybe an MCS possible there as well. And then Thursday is probably going to be a good MCS as well. So got the next 4 days for windbags in Oklahoma. You've already gone through 2. You're probably going to go through 3 or 4 more. And then that's going to shift up to the Midwest, which is where you are very much notorious this time of year for slip and slide derechos. Like to slip and slide right from Iowa, Wisconsin, down to Illinois, Indiana. Wouldn't be surprised if we deal with one of those towards the end of June, depending on holy instability. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely looking like a slip and slide derecho. I like that slip and slide derecho right there. No, I don't particularly see one on the precipitation. That's really just being built in by the high pressure, but at some point, oh wow. Yep, July's cooked. July is probably going to be full of MCSs. Maybe a derecho or two, but probably full of MCS mayhem and the maybe one or two okay tornado outbreaks. I don't want to say like really big tornado outbreaks or really small tornado outbreaks, but like one or two decent tornado outbreaks. But yeah, I think once the July comes, we're gonna stop with the tornado outbreak mayhem. But uh, still, I do think we could get one more good big tornado outbreak out of June, and then we might be able to get one more tornado outbreak out of July as well. One more good tornado outbreak, and I'm speaking like June what was it, the 19th, June 11th type outbreak. The last 3 days, the last three big outbreaks. Yesterday, the 19th ish, and then the 11th. I think we could get one more of those type of days towards the end of June, and then one in July. 17th. It was the 17th, so yeah, 11th, 17th, and then the 21st of June. All three of those are big tornado outbreaks. Obviously the 11th is a major tornado outbreak. I think yesterday is a debatable major tornado outbreak. I think we're gonna get right on that threshold, in my opinion, of 50 tornadoes being a major tornado outbreak. I think we'll get right around there. 2026 has been so interesting, but also very easy to predict far out. I mean, the forecast that I put out in February is verifying awesome right now. March was a little bit more active than I expected, but April was as expected. May was exactly as expected, very well below average, and June being above average to well above average, exactly as expected. So, as crazy as it's been, it's actually been very predictable far out, but it's like day of unpredictable, right? Like we were able to predict generally the pattern for every single month very, very well. 4 months ago we put out that tornado forecast. We were able to forecast all the last 4 months fairly well, but it's like the model data is just for day of has gotten horrible. Like a lot of our days have shifted south. A lot of our days have shifted south. The only semi-reliable model this year is StormNet. Really, that's it. Like StormNet is really the only good reliable model this year. Anything else, and it's been very far off. Yeah, that rotation's definitely breaking up as it's going over the radar, but still stay in your safe spot. Weather Warrior Sig 2 is reserved for upper echelon days where we're talking about up to like 110-mile-an-hour winds. Sig 2 wind risk is very reserved for upper echelon days. I don't think that would fit yesterday. I made an outlook last night that I only shared with one person in this chat, and that featured a beautiful 75% Sig 1 wind risk that verified nicely last night. I had a 75% moderate wind risk yesterday. And the tour risk, if I did the outlook, it probably would have been a 10% in Southern Illinois and Southwest Indiana because there was a lot of uncertainty. I think the SPC should have put 10% Sig 1. I don't know why they didn't. 15%, you got, now that it's verified, you could say, yeah, high risk, right? You could say, yeah, I would go high risk, obviously. But as somebody who watched the day unfold, and I've been monitoring yesterday's wind risk, yesterday's tornado risk for 3 to 4 days, and 3 to 4 days out, it looked great. 2 days out, it looked garbage. One day out, it started to look even worse. And then yesterday afternoon is when it started to really significantly uptrend again. What is SIG 3 for wind? Oh, I got it backwards. I apologize. SIG 1 was SIG 1 is 74, roughly 74 plus mile an hour winds. So if you're looking at a good wind threat with wind gusts up to like 80, 90 miles per hour, that's going to be SIG 1. If you're looking at 90 to 100 like yesterday, that's SIG 2. So yesterday should have been SIG 2. Honestly, you were correct with that. And then SIG 3, that is the one where you're looking at 110 mile an hour winds possible. So yeah, yesterday I didn't. The reason why I didn't have SIG 2 on my outlook is because that would have put it to high risk. So I didn't do that. But like I said, yesterday verified as a high risk in both areas. Now, imagine if the SPC actually did do a double barrel high risk. Imagine if there was actually a high risk 75% SIG 2 in Oklahoma, and then a like 30% or 45% SIG 2 in Illinois and Indiana. You know how crazy the weather community would be, even though both of them would have verified perfectly. It still would have been, community would have been going crazy. Yeah, yesterday verified as a double barrel high risk for both wind and Tor in two different areas. Wind in Oklahoma, Tor in Illinois and Indiana. And the reason why it actually verified as a 60% SIG 2 Tor risk yesterday. 60% SIG 2 Tor risk yesterday. And the reason why is because of how tight it was. Look at how tight these tornado reports are. This is a very small area with 40 tornadoes. 40 tornadoes in that very tiny area. That would have verified as a 60% SIG 2 because it's such a small area. It's not like a huge spread out area. You've got 40 tornadoes crammed in this tiny corridor in southeast Illinois and southwest Indiana. And that's what would have verified as a 60% SIG 2. And like I said, the wind risk would have verified as probably about a roughly 75% SIG 2 for Oklahoma. Yeah, and they went slight. But like I said, I can't argue too much. The one in Oklahoma, they should have went moderate. They should have. That was easy. The one in Oklahoma was easy. They upgraded to enhanced at 9 o'clock. They should have went right to moderate. Should have went from slight to moderate in Oklahoma because it was very clear at 9 p.m. Eastern that we were going to get an MCS or derecho. It was very clear. Now, the Tor threat in Illinois and Indiana, again, that one was a little bit harder to get day of because there was a lot more revolving around that. And the threat was pretty much over at 9 p.m., whereas the one here in Oklahoma was just starting at 9 p.m. So it was much easier to get that. And it probably should have upgraded at 9 p.m. But I know the reason why. Probably the reason why is because it's late. A moderate risk at 9 p.m. A lot of people aren't going to see that. And that's not going to be... But still, even regardless of that, I think that they should have pulled it and should be allowed to pull it too. But I'm sure it had something also to do in consideration from jumping to a slight risk to a moderate is a huge deal. Do we still have that active tornado warning? Let's see. Yep, still there. Oh, yeah, don't we have like a Cat 4 in the freaking West Pacific right now? Let me see. Yeah, a violent typhoon. I get into a super typhoon tonight. I just remembered that. I remember tracking that last night. Ew. It's the worst looking category 4 I've seen. The heck is that? For West Pacific standards, that is not a Cat 4. I was expecting this giant eye and easy symmetrical system. Thing looks hideous. It looked better last night. This is what it looked like last night. See right there. It's called windwear. I don't think it's called that, Catman. I don't think it's called that, man. It's called windwear. Oh no, the windwear is tearing it apart. That's great. The windwear. I like that. I like that better than wind shear. The windwear is getting to it. Oh man. That's crazy. But yeah, if you guys haven't already, if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that like button, sharing the stream with your family, friends, social media. It's really, really appreciated. And also consider hitting that subscribe button with the notification bell set to all so you know when we go live in the future. I can already tell you a few things. There will be no content on Thursday, right off the bat. And tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Tuesday? Shoot. I'm swamped this week. This sickness came at the worst time. I kid you not. Because I had nothing to do this week. So you may be thinking, okay, well, that was good. Last week I had nothing to do and I ended up sick. But that was supposed to be the full week that I streamed. So I was planning on doing like literally 5 days worth of streaming. Like 4 to 8 hours each day. 4 to 5 days in a row. And then my sickness hit. So I'll probably be live tomorrow. I don't see a reason why I wouldn't. I'll probably go live again tomorrow to discuss the MCS that's going to hit Oklahoma and Kansas. Let me go to weatherwise. Okay, we're good. Let's see here. Satellite. Japan. I believe it's Southeast Asia. Yep. There you go. There's your typhoon. Definitely doesn't look the best. Like I said, it doesn't look very West Pacific. Normally when I go over to the West Pacific, I hear about a Cat 4. That thing's about to go crazy into like a 175 super typhoon. I got hit with a random 4 a.m. tornado warning 2 days ago and immediately was thinking, of course, the one time I ignore the weather. Thank you for the $5 donation. Use the force. Yep. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Speaking of ignoring the weather, that's kind of what I'm doing in my neck of the woods right now. I'm under a slight risk without a severe watch because it's North Carolina and Virginia. That's what happens. Thank you for the one gifted membership as well. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Was that what? Okay. YouTube, man, YouTube. Yeah, thank you guys, by the way, for all the well wishes. It meant a lot and definitely helped. It definitely helped. That was a rough sickness. I'm still getting over it. It's probably going to take me another 3 to 5 days to get back to 100%. But that was a horrible sickness, the worst of the year. Most of the time I can push through it and stream for you guys, but that one knocked me out. Like literally after that live stream, I went and laid down and I was out of it for like 2-3 days straight. Couldn't really do anything. Not fun, man. Not fun. I don't know what that was, but it was not fun. Kind of felt like the flu, like a more aggressive flu, honestly. Well, I hope whatever Lucky wanted wasn't important because if it was an emergency, he's cooked. It's been 50 minutes since I've heard from him. It wasn't important. You know how I know? Because he's on his little racing simulator right now, so he's perfectly fine. That's how it is. This dude's emergency is I gotta show you a TikTok before you live stream. Like that, I told him that calling on my phone should only be reserved for like emergencies, like literally emergencies, like if you're in a crash and you need my help. This dude calls me if he wants to show me a TikTok before I'm live streaming. That's an emergency for him. Gotta show you this before I can't talk to you for 1 hour. Hurry. Last time I was sick, my neighbor said it could be Ebola. Haven't heard of that since I was in middle school. My fear was getting pneumonia. I don't. That's why I was resting a bunch. But you know the way you get pneumonia is by simply resting. If you're resting and you're not sitting or sleeping elevated, you could get it easily. It's so easy to get. And that stuff puts you in the hospital, man. And what's the other thing after that? I don't want to say it, sound like an idiot. Is it sepsis? That sounds right, but also sounds horrible. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like these crazy diseases that can put you down for weeks, and they're so easy to get. You got to be so careful, man. Yep, I didn't want my. That's why I didn't stream too, is because I was being very careful and not push myself at all, because I didn't want it to turn into a long duration sickness. 5 to 7 days is, I'd say that's that's your average virus, right? About 5 to 7 days. That's like an average virus right there. But if you get pneumonia or sepsis, you're talking about weeks now. Days in the hospital, weeks of being sick. Forecast for Pittsburgh, nothing, because that's where Pez lives, and I know he's in my chat, so nothing. Oh crap, you're about to get some rain, actually. Nothing. I don't think you'll get much. Just maybe some 50-mile-an-hour winds at worst. Oh, my battery's running low on my watch. Might as well plug that in whilst we're here. Yay. Have fun with that, Pez. Whoa. Interesting. Not a tour possible severe. Interesting. I want to go to the HRRR for Alabama real quick. And here comes the 18Z. Why did they go 5% in Alabama today? Is that for the afternoon round or for the... You know what? The evening round actually doesn't look that bad. Call me surprised. I don't know why they went 5% in Alabama today. Where's the other one? Colorado. Okay, well, I can already tell you why they went 5% there. That's all you need in Colorado. All you need in Colorado is a supercell that looks like that, and you're almost bound to get a land spout. So that's all you need in Colorado. Now, and I know why they went 5% there. I definitely wouldn't rule out a tornado or two up here in southern PA. I don't think it would be worth a 5% tour, but I've seen a lot of people in the Mid Atlantic weather community talking about that threat, that warm front threat in southeast PA, central to southeast PA later today. Probably just some rain overnight tonight, Sam. New York is fully cooked. Yep. In reality, a lot of these storms are just going to be rain and some wind. It's your classic East Coast severe threat. Rain and some wind, and can't rule out a brief tornado. But more often than not, the brief tornado never happens. And you get something random like, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, we had a full-fledged, like 17, 18 some tornado outbreak in Pennsylvania. Yeah, Ben, it's probably going to stay that way. I don't expect anything tropical from the Atlantic. We randomly got that tropical storm, which was actually a bit of a surprise. I really didn't think we would get our first tropical storm till like August. Really. I really didn't. The tour possible severe there in is this Delaware or New Jersey? I always get these two confused, as horrible as it sounds. It's one or the other. It's either Delaware or New Jersey. It's like the only two states I get confused in the US. New Jersey, got it. I get them confused. I just get them confused. Delaware and New Jersey, I get them confused. I could name and point to every single US state, and I would have to do a 50-50 on these. I wonder if El Nino is going to give us a more active second season for tornadoes. I am curious about that. Second season has been relatively nothing since 2022. 2023, not much. 2024, not much. 2025, 2026, early 2026, not much. I do remember, was it early last year where we almost got a freaking high risk in Mississippi, or was that earlier this year? I get these years confused. Years go by too fast. It's almost July. I thought we celebrated New Year's last week. Like, what? July's like 8, 9 days away. Show me Wyoming. Right there. This is Wyoming. I'm telling you, I only get two states mixed up. This is New Jersey. This is Delaware. I don't know why I get those two confused, but I do. I gotta go make sure you guys are correct. That way I don't memorize these incorrectly. Okay, y'all are correct. Ooh, you know how I can remember it? Just thought of it. How can you remember New Jersey? It's connected to New York. There you go. I won't forget it now. New Jersey is connected to New York. And just like that, I'm not going to forget that state. What does Tennessee look like? Let me see. I definitely wouldn't rule out 60-mile-an-hour winds, some heavy rain, especially across much of the state. The whole state has a chance for 60-mile-an-hour winds, up to 60-mile-an-hour winds, and some heavy rain, a little bit of lightning. I wouldn't rule out a tornado in Tennessee, and if I had to say where, the best opportunity for that is probably southeast Tennessee. I don't know why the HRRR has a huge supercell right in Nashville at 3 p.m., which is now. and it's just some light rain. So yeah, wouldn't rule out a few tornadoes in southeast Tennessee, northern Alabama, northwest Georgia later today. That would be southeast Tennessee would be the primary area for severe weather in the state of Tennessee today. And then a lot of these things. These things look like weak showers, but the problem is in the Mid Atlantic, we see this a lot. Not as high Cape, but typically it is high Cape and high downdraft Cape, and that allows for tiny little storms to produce 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So even though a lot of these storms in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina look small and like they're nothing, a lot of them are probably going to produce 40 to 65-mile-an-hour winds. HRRR has sucked recently. Say what you want about the HRRR, but it nailed that outbreak threat in Illinois and Indiana 48 hours out. Now, as it got closer, it trended towards garbage, but I mean, shoot, even the one prior, this is let me go to, how early can I go? I mean, even this one nailed it. This was the morning one. And even this one did very good with the supercell threat. But I know the morning ones, somewhere around here, it trended to garbage. And that's when it started handling it bad. Yeah, like the 16Z is when it started trending towards more garbage. But it was very consistent. That's the thing about the HRRR. Like, it was out of the 48 runs we got out of it, it probably showed the outbreak threat like 44 out of the 48 times. It was only as the event was starting to get underway, the HRRR was like, nah, this is some slop. And then it ended up being a big outbreak. So I think the HRRR actually did pretty well yesterday. It's just people looked at it when it started showing slop and not when it was actually accurate a few hours prior. So, yeah, anything else here? Might as well bring it all back over to our typhoon over here. Southeast Asia. It's one of these. There you go. There's your typhoon, northeast of the Philippines. Thoughts on tomorrow's big time wind potential? It's big time wind potential. I expect them to go enhanced tomorrow morning. And then I wouldn't be surprised, depending on how it trends, if we debate a moderate tomorrow evening at the 4 p.m. update. Wouldn't surprise me if we do debate moderate potential tomorrow. As long as it stays on course. Now, sometimes it will weave off course and downtrend, and the wind threat will go from huge to nothing in a matter of 2-3 hours. But knowing Oklahoma in the last 3 days or so, that's not going to happen, and that wind threat's going to stay fairly high. Yeah, StormNet is definitely showing pretty good wind potential tomorrow. Not as big wind potential as the Derecho yesterday. It's not as high probability as yesterday, but it is a very elevated probability for damaging winds. How much Cape? You're probably looking at borderline 5,000 Cape tomorrow. And then, yeah, like I said, it's already showing the potential for another MCS on Thursday, too. So, the only day where Oklahoma may not get a derecho for the 5th day in a row is Wednesday. Wednesday may be the only day you guys don't get a huge wind bag. Yeah, and then like I said, StormNet really likes Monday, June 29th. And it also likes Saturday pretty well as well. It's going to come down to the trough. The trough is what it's going to come down to. If we go to our GFS here, we go to our 500 millibar trough, and we go out to the 25th. So that's going to be, the 25th is going to be your severe threat in Oklahoma and Kansas again. You guys are welcome. I know you want another 5th wind bag. The 26th, I don't think we'll have anything too crazy. The 27th is when things could start to pick up again. You could see a very large area of defluence and divergence up here. That could allow for some tornado threat to sneak under right in front of that shortwave trough. The 28th, I mean, we're probably going to have like 5 days of severe weather up here in North and South Dakota because of this bowling ball trough. And I would be watching one of these. If one of these can be timed very well, we could get a huge derecho. You know the setup I'm going to say. You already know. Every time we get a setup that looks like this with good cape and good moisture in the north central US, I instantly think June 20th, 2025. And this is another one of those cases where we have a huge high pressure out in the Pacific funneling a huge area of troughing with a low pressure forcing that troughing up into the north central US. And that is the perfect setup for multiple days of MCS and or derecho potential. Not really big tornado outbreak days, but definitely for MCS days. Maybe it depends on the trough. Sometimes you'll get a huge MCS. Other times you'll get like 1 or 2 cool looking supercells. And then other times you get an insane historic outbreak like June 20th, 2025 out of them. But this type of setup is very, very common. This is a very, very, very common setup, and this is exactly what we were thinking back in February for June. Very, very much expected. Tour possible. I know the one up here is tour possible. Ooh, the one in New York is tour possible in New York City. Yep, New York City's got a tornado possible severe. What that means is that you got 60-mile-an-hour winds and 0.75-inch hail being possible with this severe storm, and we can't rule out a tornado. So the precaution you need to take: get away from doors and windows and stay close to your safe spot. That means stay close to the most interior room of your home, stay close to your storm shelter, stay close to your safe spot. Wherever that safe spot is for a tornado, be close to that. And if it gets too rough, get to that safe spot. Because there are instances where we have seen a tour possible severe and there's actually a unwarned tornado ongoing. So if at any point it gets too rough and you're in that severe warning, get to your safe spot. So it's a pretty serious severe thunderstorm. It's not a life-threatening severe storm, but Like I said, there is cases where it has been a life-threatening severe storm and you need to get to your safe spot quickly. Good old pop-up thunderstorms in Virginia, North Carolina. We get these all the time. These aren't the fun storms. These are the annoying storms, you know? The fun storms are the ones that look cool. These are the ones that just ruin your afternoon plans. One of these might look cool. The one in Elkin and Boonville, Yadkinville, starting to look good on radar. But most of those are just going to ruin your afternoon plans. Checking the temperature. It's almost 90 degrees out there. Let's see. Okay. Well, make sure you still stay weather aware if you're in these severe thunderstorm watches as well. So if you're in those severe watches, remember you got to know the difference between a watch and a warning. A warning means take action, and a watch means to watch out. So if you're in a severe watch, prepare for severe storm conditions. Make sure that devices are charged. You're staying close to local media outlets. You're keeping on that weather radio. And again, most importantly, keep those devices charged so you know when those warnings and watches do get issued. And we've got 3 of those out, and these are severe watches. These are not particularly concerning severe watches. They are all low for tornado probability. Both of these are mainly for just wind. Can't rule out 1-inch hail, but mainly 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts will be possible in those watches. Can't rule out 1-inch hail. This is your highest and severe watch. That's where we're going to see a tornado or 2 possible, and then also 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. But also 1-inch hail is expected, and we could even see upwards of 2 to 3-inch in diameter hail in that watch. So these 2 are low-end watches here. And this one is a little bit higher end probability watch. But none of these are particularly very concerning watches. They're just your ordinary watches. That again, that hail probability is a little bit high, but they're still your ordinary severe thunderstorm watches that you get every day in the summer. Very, very common. Like 2024, I think we were almost getting like a severe watch almost like 50 days in a row during 2024 between like April and July. So they're very common. No tornado watches, thankfully. Despite 5% tornado risks, we don't have a tornado watch. We could get one in northern Colorado, right up in here. So I wouldn't rule out a low end probability tornado watch up there towards Sterling, but that would still be a low end tornado watch. Let's see. Pouring rain here. Should be. Not as bad as before, though. There was a lot more rain that moved through earlier. Between right around 2 o'clock your time was the heaviest rain. Should be starting to clear out now. Friday, June 26th. Looks pretty interesting on some model data. Let's go to the 26th of June. So the 25th will be that Kansas-Oklahoma threat, but the 26th... Oh, yep. GFS is definitely fast. Why not both though, actually? Yeah, the GFS is definitely fast. The GFS, I would almost be interested in the Midwest as well. Almost like a double barrel threat there. I'd be interested in both Illinois and Indiana, and then also back here in Kansas and Oklahoma on the 25th. I feel like the not the HRRR, the GFS might be a little bit too strong on that trough in Illinois on the 25th. And then the 26th, this little belt of flow right here, that tiny little belt of flow, that's going to be what we want to watch. A lot of cape, little shear, but still could bring some severe risk for Illinois and Indiana. Nothing. StormNet is very much interested in Southwest Indiana Friday afternoon. But on the model data, I'm not seeing anything overly concerning. Even on StormNet, it's relatively low probability. It's not particularly high at the moment. So as of now, this is going to change. I can guarantee it. There's no concerning tornado threats in the future. But again, I do think that's going to change because, once more, if we could go to our model data, go to the GFS 500 millibar, I would watch Oklahoma on the 25th. That looks interesting. But then towards the end of the month, I almost guarantee it. We'll be talking about a tornado outbreak being possible somewhere in this vicinity toward the end of the month. I don't know exactly where, but somewhere in that area from north central North Dakota to western South Dakota, down towards southern southwest Iowa, southern southeast Nebraska, all the way back up into Wisconsin. Somewhere in there, we're going to be talking about tornado outbreak potential towards the either the very end of this week and probably the very end of this week into early next week. Because again, that's a very, very good setup for significant severe weather. Again, high pressure here, which is pushing your flow this way. Low pressure up there, pushing your flow this way. Low pressure here, pulling your flow this way. That's creating divergence aloft. High pressure here, keeping your flow also rolling this way. That is a classic setup, once more, for big time severe potential, right where all those things meet. So you just have all this flow being pushed right into this one area. Is it 18Z? Yep, it's coming out. We'll stay live for it. Why not? We'll watch the 18Z render in. It'll only be like another 30 minutes or so. Maybe even less. The high tomorrow in Paris, France, 104. That's pretty cold. I mean, look, I could just go to temperatures here. And boom, just like that, I've already found temperatures higher than that. 106, 107, 110, 111. It's that easy. When in doubt, go to Texas and look for hot temperatures. You'll find them. This is Europe. Yeah, that's cold for Europe. What'd you say on Thursday? It's hard to really see it this zoomed out. Actually, what am I doing? I could go here, here, here. Oh my word. Tuesday gets to 100 in Paris. 102 on Wednesday. Almost 103 on Thursday. Just a little warm. That's a lot of people. I like to do that. Take my radar software, go look at one of the populated cities. Like, here's New York. Look at New York, dude. Crazy, man. We're used to tracking rural areas where, like, the highest population we see is 4,000 for tornado warnings. But then you'll go to like a severe storm, New York. I didn't check the population of this, but I have to imagine it's easily in the millions. I believe one out here was actually near 10 million before. Yep. 8.2 million. Just a few people. Just a few people. We got a new tour possible severe. Elkmont in north central Alabama. Doesn't look bad at all. I wouldn't be shocked if it gets tornado warned. Well, I can already tell you the 18Z will not have the same outcome as the 12Z. Look at the cape difference. Bye-bye Derecho opportunity. It still might have some MCS, maybe some MCS potential, but I doubt it will be the same location as the 12ZH triple R. What's that? Large tornado on the ground in Russia about 4 hours ago. What? Isn't that something? That ain't no small one either. Gracious. Should I chase today? No. 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 You shouldn't. No. It's a windbag, bro. Come on. I've been picking chases a lot more carefully this year. I have only done one proper chase this year. Only one. One storm chase this year. It has been the most inactive storm chasing year for me since I started chasing back in 2020. I think like my first chase was probably like my first real chase was probably 2022. I could say like 2018 when I was interested in storm chasing and I was like halfway kind of storm chasing, but my first full chase was 2022. Last year I chased probably 10 to 20 times. Year before that, probably 10 times. 2022, I probably chased 5 to 10 times. Normally I chase around 10 times a year, and this year, one chase. I I probably did chase more in 2018 out of nowhere than I did this year thus far. Do I plan for that to change? Not really, unless I wonder if we could get some good MCS threats in July, but last year July was very very yuck for chasing. Do Russia coverage? Sure. I forgot if I said that. Let's see, where's the nearest radar? The nearest radar for where that large tornado happened, somewhere up here in Russia, is in South Korea. Is that the radar? South Korea? Yeah, that's in South Korea. Question is, why doesn't Weather Front have satellite out here? I think that's the closest it gets. How is that the South Pacific? Oh, there it goes. I think that's like as close as you're gonna get to Asia. Yeah. Completely different. Completely different on the 18Z compared to the 12C. Completely different. One of them has a derecho, one of them has a supercell. 12Z has a big derecho, and 18Z has like 4 or 5 different supercells. I find the 12Z more likely in this case. And the NAM also has a MCS going through Oklahoma tomorrow. Let's check everybody's favorite model run, the RRFSA 12Z. Everybody loves this model. We all know it's the most accurate model run in history. See what it has for tomorrow. Nope. Take two. Take two. Derecho right into the exact same area. Maybe a little bit more to the northeast, but practically the same area as yesterday. Does it have another one on Wednesday? I'm curious. What about one on Thursday? It tries to get another one going on Thursday. So look at that. You got your real classified derecho there leaving. You get a second one tomorrow. And then on Thursday, it tries to get another one. Trying to get 3 derechos out here. And we just got a new severe watch. Not sure where in the world that's going to be. Oh, Eastern Colorado. That's the highest probability watch today. There you go. just some hail, some wind, and maybe a brief tour. Nothing too crazy. Just your ordinary severe weather today. Shouldn't be anything historic like yesterday in Illinois and Indiana. Guarantee we will see severe probs on tomorrow's day 4 through 8. We already have today's. Let's see. Ooh. I'm gonna check the HRRR for me. Am I getting anything? Wow, this model sucks. Oh, you know what? It's not doing too horrible. I only like the HRRR when it gives me what I want. Like, I am not gonna go chase any of this garbage, bro. I'm not gonna go waste $20 to $60 on gas to chase heavy rain. No, thank you. Pass. Now, if there was something like what's over here in Huntsville, where I could see, you know, mesocyclones trying to form, border of Tennessee and Alabama, I'd chase that. They've been mentioning outlooks for days. Yeah, it's just there's not enough confidence right now. I do think they will. I do think they will add it probably tomorrow. Maybe multiple. I could see them adding day 6 and day 7. Maybe even day 8. I don't think day 8 because when they added day 8, now the last time we had a day 8, we had like 70 some tornadoes in Mississippi and Alabama in 2022. So probably a day 6 and a day 7 outlook. Zoom Earth is the best thing, man? No. Food is. Food is the best thing. You don't got your priorities straight, Ben. Come on. I do like Zoom Earth, though. Yeah, some of these are trying to rotate, too, right between Florence and Hackleburg. A few little mesocyclones trying to spark up. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. If you live in this vicinity here, definitely want to keep an eye on that for a tornado or two later today. And it's not a particularly high threat. If we do get a tornado, it's likely to be weak and likely to be brief. Wonder if Span is covering today. And there he is. He sure is. He's talking about southern Alabama. It's got his eye down there. Just some showers. Excuse me. Day 2 for tomorrow. There's considerable spread in 12Z model guidance in the location of any ongoing MCS through 12Z Wednesday. higher probabilities may be introduced. So you could take a look here. They just updated this. Oh, shoot. Was that day 2 or day 3? That was day 3. Stupid. I'm like, that's not right. They just updated this. There you go. So they're thinking they may extend that slight risk more to the southwest if there's confidence on an ongoing MCS. And I have a feeling if they do add that, it would actually be like down in here. If an MCS starts like, well, no, this would be for, yeah. So like if an MCS starts tomorrow in like this area and it tracks through here, and then on Wednesday it's still ongoing in this area, they may add like a little slight risk down in here. So we may see an additional slight risk or an extension to that slight risk in later outlooks. One of the outlooks from NATOcast did, but you got to understand, NATOcast updated, what, 5 times yesterday? Had 5 different outlooks. One of them was a high risk in St. Louis, which was an underperformance. Another one was a high risk in St. Louis, which was an underperformance. Another one was a 10 sig in Southern Illinois, which was a little bit too far west and actually overperformed. And the other 2 I didn't look at. The other 2 I didn't look at one bit. So I'm not sure. All I know is that, oh, and then I know, wait. I do know one more had a moderate risk in Illinois and Indiana, and that's the one that got posted everywhere as performed. So sure. I mean, shoot, if I made 4 different outlooks, a high risk in St. Louis, a high risk in Illinois, Indiana, a 10% SIG 1 in Indiana, and a 15 SIG 1 in Southern Illinois and Southern Indiana, one of them ought to verify, you know? If you make 4 different outlooks for the day, one of them being a low end, one of them being mid tier, one of them being high tier, one of them ought to verify. You just choose which one verified, and then boom, there you go. You say it's good. So, I don't really think NATOcast did that well because it wasn't even close to consistent. StormNet was consistent from 5 days out that it would be a big outbreak day. It uptrended from day 5 all the way until even day 1. Even day 1, it was still actively uptrending on StormNet. Yeah, 10 sig was warranted for sure. I don't really know why they didn't pull it. Like I said, that would be a good mid tier. The reason why I wouldn't have done a 15 sig 1 or 15 sig 2 is because of the uncertainty of instability and destabilization in the afternoon. But a 10 sig 1 was, or even a 10 sig 2 was easily, I'd say 10 sig 2. Nah. 10 sig 1 was warranted in the morning outlook. And then maybe even I feel like they could have done a 15 sig 2 in the afternoon. I looked at mesoanalysis, I think at 3 p.m. It was easy. It was clear that it would be an outbreak day. It was clear. You had 16 supercell composite all over southern Illinois and southwestern Indiana with a boundary setting up in south central Illinois and clearing to the south of that with a rapidly destabilizing environment. It was easy. It was like the easiest, this is going to be an outbreak day that we've had this year. Most of the time we're like, if this MCS clears out and if it doesn't push far enough south and if the Cape can recover. Yesterday it was already all there. The ingredients were already all in place. Which is why even the MCS clearing out started producing tornadoes before the main event even started. I could see a high for Tor second season. Man, I wonder if that's ever even happened. I'm trying to think. Yeah, even Mayfield didn't even get a high risk for tornadoes. Like, I doubt it. I highly doubt it. If there is a high risk in freaking December, shoot. That'd be insane. 60% SIG 2 at least. I'm shocked we haven't had a 60% SIG 2 high risk. I am shocked. We've had probably 3 days this year. 3 days this year so far that have been worth a high risk for wind. And I think the reason why they haven't pulled it is just because of the jump. Going from a moderate to high is very serious. It's really more serious. It's not as insane when it's from wind, because a wind high risk, that could be a jump from 45% to 60%. For wind, that's not big, but for Tor, that's huge. If you look at your Tor probs, it goes 2%, 5%, 10%, 15%, which is, 2 to 5, that's your first small jump. 5 to 10, pretty big. 10 to 15, pretty big. And then for a high risk, 15 to 30. You go from a 15% to a 30% chance for tornadoes. That's a big jump. And then 30 to 45, and then 45 to 60. Those are huge jumps. But for wind, it's not as big. Wind goes 5, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. Wind goes all the way up to 90, so I feel like 60% SIG 2 isn't too bad. Now, that is a storm that I would chase, but too bad it's 3 hours away, all the way up in Harrisonburg. I'd love to be on that, but too bad I don't live up there. I would not be shocked if that's got a little wall cloud going into Stanley. And then as for hail, hail can't go high. We've already had like 3 risks, 3 or 4 wind risks this year that have verified as 90% SIG 1. Literally. Look at all these special weather statements. That's how it is here in the eastern US with these type of setups. Every small storm with an updraft has the chance to produce 40 to 65 mile an hour winds, so you just get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't even know how many are there. 32 special weather statements right now active. And that's what's going to happen when you get these types of setups. Here's a severe, just stuck out to me. 1-inch hail, 50 mile an hour winds. That's out in southeast of Buffalo, Wyoming. And we got a tour possible there in Alabama, tour possible there in a new one in New Jersey for Wall Township. And then a new one in Nebraska just came in as well, southwest of Harrisburg in western Nebraska. We also got one in Quebec. Quebec, Canada. Yeah, so we've got 3, 1, 2, 3 tour possible severes, and we just lost this one. No longer a severe thunderstorm warning for New York City. And no tornado warnings. We do have only one extremely high-end special weather statement. Borderline a severe thunderstorm warning. That's this one here in Florence, Alabama. That one's for 55 mile an hour winds, which is just 3 miles per hour shy of what would be considered a severe thunderstorm. Let's see. Man, you guys are just all over probabilities right now. I'll just let y'all keep going. Built wall cloud moving east from my location. That was 307. I was right here. Oh, yeah. Look at that. No surprise there. Brief wall cloud. Actually, not even that brief. Probably lasted from way back here, north of Crum. North of Crum, West Virginia. All the way until near Hearts. That looked like a pretty long-lived wall cloud right there. At least from radar, that doesn't look half bad at all. You could even see the little tail end of that, too. Right at my cursor. It died out once it got merged. Any well-forecasted event in 2026 underperforms. Any event out of the blue is insane. Well, if that's the case, then the two moderates for SIG 2 that both had, some violent tours shouldn't have performed. So that hot take is pretty dumb. Not gonna lie. Pretty dumb. The SPC's done very well. I'd say they have their slip-ups, of course. Obviously, they do. I'd say yesterday was probably their most severe slip-up of the year so far. You remember that moderate in NC? What moderate in NC? Remember the moderate in North Carolina. Of course I do. It's the second moderate risk that I've ever had. That is, both of the moderates that I've had have underperformed. Back to back. 3 years apart, by the way. Chased my first moderate in 2023. Whole thing split it over Southern Virginia. Couldn't get to a storm unless I was almost 3 hours away in a different state into South Carolina. And then this one, well, it really underperformed for the entire vicinity unless you're up in Maryland. Yeah, the wind did verify, but I was more after the 15% SIG 1 tour, which was garbage. I never expected that to verify. I don't know what the SPC saw for a 15 SIG 1 tour for a wind bag in the mid-Atlantic, let alone the mid-Atlantic, and let alone Virginia out of all states. The state that nothing performs in unless it's in the DC metro area. Yeah, the wind did verify. The wind was for wind gusts a little higher than, I think it was 74 miles. I believe it was SIG 1, which is wind gusts could exceed 74 miles per hour. And I think we had one report of like 81, 82 mile an hour winds. I'd have to go back and look at all the reports. But I know we had like 300 some damaging wind reports. So I know it verified. You just be a little questioning the high-end verification of that. And then the tour threat was a full-blown bust, and the hail threat was never expected to be that high, but was still a bust. 500 wind reports. 500 wind reports. Look at that. Look at that. For sure verified. In the grand scheme of things, it was actually a very good forecast. But people just... It wasn't as crazy as what you would expect for a moderate. And yeah, only... this actually says 0 reports over 75. But I remember, I legit, I kid you not, saw the screenshot like literally 2 days ago. Maybe even it might have been yesterday. I saw the screenshot of the 80, it was somewhere between 80 and 82 mile an hour wind report. And then, yeah, this is what was a full-blown bust. A freaking 80-60 tornado watch. 95-70 wind, and then 2010 hail. 80-60. And then, yeah, see, that did bust. The 70%, that I think was a bust for North Carolina and Virginia. So, really the only thing that, and I guess really the only thing you could say that performed is actually just the wind gusts of 60 miles per hour being possible. Which, again, if you look at the outlook, here's the outlook. 60% SIG 1, 15% SIG 1 Tor. Why can't you guys see that? There you go. At 5% hail. I think they upgraded that hail threat, did they not? I feel like, I swear it was a 15%. Well, I guess the hail threat wasn't a bust then. I thought it went 15%, but I'm tripping. That was your red flag already for a moderate risk day. A few tornadoes, some potentially strong. That's your first red flag. If you're looking at a moderate risk day, including a 15 sig 1 tour, and it says some strong, that's a red flag that you need to turn around and go home. I should have read more into that on Chase Day. I was already out there though, man. I woke up at like 6 a.m. and was already out the door at like 7 o'clock. Is tomorrow the expected next derecho in Oklahoma? I don't expect a derecho in Oklahoma in the next few days, but it just wouldn't surprise me. I do expect an MCS at some point in Oklahoma, if not multiple. So, yeah, we're getting ready to wrap up. Just to go over, for anyone just tuning in, severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect out here in Pennsylvania, Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, and New Jersey, as well as in Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, and then 2 more severe watches in effect, one in Colorado, and then another one in Nebraska, Wyoming, Montana, and South Dakota. These watches, a brief tornado or 2, as well as up to 3-inch hail and up to 70-mile-an-hour winds will be possible. Those are your higher end severe watches. This one, a little bit better for a tornado risk. A few brief weak tornadoes possible with that. Up to 70-mile-an-hour winds and up to 1-inch hail. The highest Tor threat will be focused from far southeast Tennessee into northwestern Alabama and northwestern Georgia. And then here in Pennsylvania, that's where your risk is in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia, West Virginia as well. Up to 70-mile-an-hour winds, 1-inch hail, and then can't rule out a brief tornado, but mainly 70-mile-an-hour winds is your main threat. So once more, primary threat, damaging winds, and a few brief tornadoes. Primary threat, damaging winds. Primary threat, large hail, and damaging winds. So your highest threat for severe weather today, by far focused in this area. As for the outlook, there is your slight risk for today, level 2 out of 5 in that yellow area, 1 out of 5 in the dark green. Same goes for the East US, level 2 out of 5 in the yellow, 1 out of 5 in the dark green. Tomorrow, we've got a level 1 out of 5 in the dark green there across the far southeastern and east central US. And then a large level 1 of 5 dark green there across a good chunk of the central US. And I do expect we will see this slight risk level 2 out of 5 grow a little bit more, probably to the east, southeast. And then I wouldn't be shocked if we get a 30%, which would be a orange enhanced risk for damaging winds somewhere across Kansas and Oklahoma for tomorrow. Day 3, same ordeal, level 2, level 1. Wouldn't be surprised if we get either a extension of that slight risk to the southeast or a new slight risk out there in Arkansas for some MCS, leftover MCS potential Wednesday morning. And then we have a slight risk out for Wyoming, Colorado, and Nebraska, and South Dakota on day 4 Thursday. Friday, your threat is going to transition into Oklahoma, maybe a secondary area in Illinois. Saturday, your primary area will be in Illinois. Sunday, your risk is going to shift up to North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. Monday, your risk will shift into Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. There you go. And I do expect we will see probably a day 6 and day 7 outlook tomorrow. That would be for Saturday, or rather, that would be for Sunday and Monday, the weekend, this weekend. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. That's going to do it for this live stream. Just wanted to get on here, do a full recap of yesterday, talk about the severe threat, and just chill for a bit for a good 2 hours there. As I haven't been able to do this for the last 5 days or so. I may see you guys tomorrow. I may not. Depends on how things trend. I may or may not see you Wednesday. We'll have to see. Kind of 50-50 on tomorrow and Wednesday. And I know for a fact I will not be here on Thursday. So possible live stream and or video tomorrow, as well as Wednesday. And then nothing Thursday. And then we'll see about Friday and the days following that. Alrighty. That is going to do it. Appreciate the mods for Mod and Chat, everybody for being here, and appreciate you guys for supporting the live stream. Greatly appreciate it. Obviously, support, use the Force for the 1 membership gifted and the $5 donation earlier in the live stream. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in tomorrow or Wednesday's live stream or video. Again, we'll just have to see which one it is. I'm not too sure which one it will be, but we'll find out when we get there, right? So have a great rest of your Monday, and I will see you in the next one. Stay safe and watch the severe weather, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch the severe weather, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream or video that I do. Have a great rest of your Monday. Goodbye.